with my mental health. I even, oddly enough, I won a state speech tournament when I was in high school for an original oratory. So it's a speech that you write yourself and then you give competitively. And it
Mhm.
was actually about suicide. So mental health has always
Wow.
been a big part of my life. But it wasn't until 2005 that I was actually diagnosed with mental health problems. So
Mhm.
um, in 2014, I was in a pretty pretty serious car accident. It affected the speech processing part of my brain.
Mhm.
So I can't handle a lot of people talking to me at the same time. I can't handle a lot of external um,
Noise?
interference, like the TV being on, somebody talking to me while I'm trying to do something. Um,
Okay.
it causes focus problems, and then of course it also causes language output, speech problems. They call it the tip of the tongue syndrome sometimes.
Mhm.
I like to refer it to as the brain holding your words hostage. Like, you know the word that you want to say, but sometimes the brain kind of just holds on to the word
Mhm.
and doesn't want to let it go. And sometimes it will let it go after a couple seconds. And then sometimes, I mean, I can spend hours trying to find a word, or I'll say, ask my husband or my daughters, like, hey, what? I need help with the word. This is what the word is. I just can't
Mhm.
find the word itself. Uh, so that is one of the reasons why I joined the community, both reading and writing, because um, being using language has helped me to recover to I guess the best I can.
Mhm.
Uh, Both reading and writing has helped me to kind of reclaim a little bit of what you know was lost. So, and that kind of struggle kind of was reflected into that story I was talking about, that I got to a certain
Mhm.
point and I got really inspired to write the story. So that's a little bit about me. I have 8 published stories on the app,
Which is amazing.
and um, I have many, many more in my brain. It's just a matter of getting them out of my brain in time.
Of course, that's all our struggles. But I love that you did touch on mental health. I think a lot of people do not talk about it as much. And we did mention this in the last podcast as well. But I think a lot of people don't talk about their mental health. And honestly, mental health is so, so very important. It's just as important as your physical health, your
Oh,
daily activities and everything. It
absolutely.
is very important.
Part of the reason I think people don't like to talk about their mental health or struggle to talk about their mental health is because, whoa, uh, sorry about that.
It's all
Something's
good.
going
To
on
be
over
fair,
here.
I had a driving lawnmower go by while you were talking earlier, and I just see it going by. I'm like, well, hopefully my mic didn't catch that.
Yeah, yeah. Um, it The big problem with people talking about their mental health issues is society itself. Society has attached a stigma to mental health problems, and where people are um a sh-
It's kind of like a taboo thing, I think,
yeah.
that people find it because I know this from personal experiences that people who struggle with mental health, it's either it doesn't get talked about a lot, which obviously needs to change,
Yes.
or I think that the person, it depends obviously on who they are. They're kind of ashamed and want to keep that,
Yes.
that private to themselves, which
Yeah. There is
obviously it's a choice, right?
yes, there's a lot of shame attached to it. There's a lot of negative connotation.
Yeah.
We talk about people being crazy or
Mhm.
unstable or whatever. So, if you're struggling, um, and then a lot of people, there's a lot of misunderstanding about it.
Yes.
If you struggle with anxiety or depression, oh well, I go through sad. I can be really really sad. No, it's not
It
the
is
same.
completely
It is
different.
it's completely different, and so it is something that needs to be talked about more.
Mhm.
And I actually have 1.5 stories planned. I say half because I'm only directing it. My daughter is actually writing it. Uh,
Oh, yay! Can't wait to read it.
that so 1.5 more stories that are really going to be centered around mental health.
Mhm. Which is
So
honestly, it's amazing that you're touching on that topic because I think some people don't know how to write. And I'm not saying I'm not saying just everybody. I'm just saying in general, I don't think some people know how to touch that topic because it can I think that it's kind of like writing, for example, an LGBTQ or a
yeah,
disability story. Unless you're in that person's shoes,
yes,
it can come off as different ways where you can offend people or it could just
abs
come a lot of backlash.
absolutely. I've actually talked with several friends about this. Not to discourage anybody to write about
Of
certain
course.
things, but there are certain things, certain topics, certain things that really, unless you have intimate experience, either through personal experience or professional experience, really you have to question, why are you writing about this, and can you really do it justice?
Mhm.
um, because it's hard to research what goes on inside the mind of somebody that's struggling when
Yeah.
they don't even know how to explain what's going on in their mind.
Mhm.
So, some of those things, like you said, mental health, LGBTQ, um,
Disabilities, like
disabilities, so there's some other
there's other
things,
topics, but
yeah, that I